Hey everyone, it's Amber Spotted Elk at the Paper Owl and welcome to my channel. Today we have some Christmas/holiday storage ideas and hacks. I'm really excited about this. There are some great ways to store things. I have a lot of things that I bring out every year, which means I have a lot of things I have to put away every year. So implementing some good storage habits is a great way to help out in that process. As you can see, I do have this small tree up behind me. It has all of the ornaments and all of that off of there, so it's going to be really easy to put away. I wanted to leave a few things up just to keep the holiday spirit alive. It is not even New Year's yet, so hopefully you'll catch this video before you put away your holiday items and you'll be able to implement some of these ideas. Just as a reminder, I am doing a giveaway. It's in my last video, which is last minute gift basket ideas. So definitely head on over there after this so you can have a chance to enter that giveaway. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel. Comment below, let me know which one of these ideas you'll be implementing this year. And as always, if you'd like to become part of the Paper Owl family, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified every single time that I upload. And without further ado, let's get started.
Hey everyone, so starting out, we are going to be taking these lights and using a wrapping paper roll, and I cut this down to size once I know how much I'm going to be wrapping on there. It just makes it a little bit easier. So I like to stuff one end down the tube a little bit to start out. You could also just kind of tape it down, but I like this because it's less work basically. You don't have to get out the tape and do anything, just kind of put that down the tube hole and start wrapping around. I With this, I know I'm just doing one strand, so I'm just kind of wrapping tightly around the roll. If you're wrapping more than one strand, you can absolutely do that. Keep them connected, and then you can double over on the roll as well, and that will help save some space so that you're not having multiple of these. But basically, I just kind of take my time and wrap it nice and tightly so it's not going to fall off of that roll. And I do this right off of the tree, as you can see me doing that here. This is a small tree, so it's a little bit easier. Instead of pulling all of the lights off and then doing it from there, I just figure I'll cut out that middle step and just take them right off the tree and wrap them on the roll, and it makes it much easier, much quicker, and it definitely a time saver. So you can see I'm just making sure that I've got it nice and snug on there. I really like doing it this way. If you don't have any extra wrapping paper rolls, you could absolutely use like a paper towel roll, or you can even just grab an extra piece of cardboard if you have one laying around, to do it that way. So this is it completed. So now at the end of it, I'm going to stick that end down the other side of the hole to make sure that that stays in there, and I just make sure it's nice and snug again so it's not going anywhere. And you have this nice roll of lights that's not going to get tangled. It's going to be nice and compact in the space that you're putting it in. I love wrapping up my used lights like this. Next up, I'm going to be making some dividers for ornaments, and so I'm taking actually just a t-shirt box for wrapping gifts in, cutting it down a little bit so that it's going to fit into my Tupperware, and then I'm just kind of taping those flaps down. I actually got this tape at the Dollar Tree, and I don't know what else I would use green glittery tape for. Hindsight's 2020, but I decided that this would be a good project for it. So I taped these edges down. Probably not like totally necessary, but I wanted it to be nice and stable. And I'm taking these plastic cups from the Dollar Tree as well. They have some that come in a 10-pack and some smaller ones that come in a 6-pack, depending on the size of your ornaments. The 10-pack is also larger, so they'll hold larger ornaments. A 6-pack is a little bit smaller. This is great if you have really delicate ornaments, breakable ornaments, glass ornaments, that sort of thing, and you don't want to spend a ton of money getting the ornament organizers. So I bought like 4 or 5 packs of these larger cups and a couple of the smaller ones. But basically I can fit, I think it's 15 on one of these t-shirt boxes, and I basically just hot glue them down. I kind of laid them out in place first, but you'll just hot glue around the rim of the cup at the bottom, not in the middle. So just around the rim, and you'll see me do that here, just like that, place it down. This is such a great alternative to buying the ornament organizers. I think the less expensive, smaller ones are like $8 or $9 at Walmart, I saw, and then they only go up in price from there. They can get so ridiculously expensive and just crazy. What I like about this method as well is that you can still see everything. So you can, if you have a lot of ornaments, you can see where they're at, what bin they're in. Another great way to organize is taking just a large Tupperware. I've got these smaller picks and I'm going to place them in there. They fit nicely, put the lid on, and then that way they're nice and preserved. They're not going to get bent and all over the place. So I really like doing that. And then it's just a great micro organizer inside of your larger Tupperwares. Another great item I found were these cupcake holders at the Dollar Tree. So you get these for $1 and they're supposed to hold 9 cupcakes. I actually put cupcake holders in here, so if you've got more delicate ornaments and you don't want them rubbing together, they have glitter or different things like that, the cupcake holders are a great alternative to just placing them in there. That way they're not rubbing up against each other and they're staying nice and safe. I also leave my hangers on once I take them off the tree, and that just saves a step next year, to be honest. Some of them fall off here and there. Most of the time they're pretty good, but these cupcake organizers are great. So you know, buying a couple of these, even 4 or 5 of these, if you have a lot of ornaments, is going to be cheaper than buying even the $8 ornament organizer from like Walmart. So this is a great deal. It snaps shut. It's nice and sturdy. It's going to fit great in your Tupperwares. So I really love this as an alternative as well. This is the stacked cups. So I've got another, this is alternating the large and small cups, and you can see here I've got little small ornaments, and 2 of them even fit in the small cups, and then the larger ones in between there. And then basically you just take one layer and continue adding it on top of itself. So you've got a whole Tupperware full if you have that many ornaments, which works out really nicely. And like I said, this is a great alternative if you have breakable ornaments, glass ornaments, that sort of thing, that really need to be separated so that they're not pressing on each other, anything like that. I have mostly plastic ornaments or non-breakable ornaments, so even putting them in like a Ziploc bag works out great. But you just continue making those layers with the cups and the t-shirt boxes or cardboard, whatever you want to use. This is it inside of the Tupperware, so you can kind of see. That would be the bottom layer, and then you put your next layer on top. This I'm showing you with the cupcake holder and then this little Tupperware of picks, and how you can just kind of continue stacking on top of that if you need to, which is great. And I love using these clear bins. If you do have the option to get clear bins, you can see right in there, which is perfect. I love that. This is everything all stacked on top of itself. We've even got the roll of lights in there. And I love this for micro organizing the Tupperwares so that you can really see everything, and it's just nice and put together, easy to take out, easy to put back in, and works out great. If you don't have the clear Tupperware, fine. Just make sure you're really labeling the outside of your containers. I definitely have a few that aren't clear, but I'm going to use what I have until they're not usable anymore. So like I said, another option is to just put these in a Ziploc bag if you don't have glass ornaments, and that'll keep really well as long as they're not going to be like banging around a whole bunch and rubbing up on each other. Sometimes the glitter can fall off in those cases. Here I'm putting my large garlands away. I am wearing some gloves for this. It can tear up your hands a little bit. And I like to pull all of my branches down one way, and this really helps with I think keeping your greenery in good condition year after year and making it last longer. If you're just shoving it in a box and your branches are sticking out in different ways and you're stacking things on top, then those can bend and they can, break easier as the years go on. So I feel like it's just best to pull them all in one direction, and then I try and roll them as much as I can into just something to fit nicer in the tub, and that way the branches aren't sticking up all crazy, and then I'll continue to add greenery pieces on top like that. So these are all like items. Nothing's going in here that's going to be too heavy to press down on my branches, and that's another thing that will help. So I'm putting swags and other greenery pieces that I have out throughout the holiday season to keep them all kind of together, and nothing, like I said, nothing really heavy, so that it's not pressing down on your branches and possibly wearing on them more than you want while they're being stored. So like here's one of my Tupperwares that's not clear, and I'll just make sure that I label that really nicely since I can't see in there. And I love storing my greenery that way. Here I'm just going to show you packing up a couple bins, and so I've got some small ornaments, I've got my bottle brush trees, some picks, and I do kind of play around with how I store things just to make sure that I'm storing it as easily as possible, making as much room as possible. I like to buy these like cookie containers after Christmas while they're like 50% off, and they're great for storage. So that's if you don't have a lot of Tupperware bins or different small containers like that, go to Walmart, Target, wherever, and get their cookie containers for 50% off after Christmas. That's when you're going to be storing this stuff anyway, so it works out great. I do wrap some stuff in tissue paper if need be. And so you can see I'm playing around here with what's going to fit in nicely. The red balls made it so the lid wasn't going to go on quite right. So I end up just taking the box out and putting the florals that I have in Ziploc bags. And again, I'm not putting anything really heavy on top of my florals on any of my picks because I don't want any extra pressure on there. Pulling down on any part of them that's going to make them not last as long. So again, here's another Tupperware I'm packing. If I can help it, I'll put things in between that are breakable so that I don't have to do tissue paper. And then also that the mantle pieces that hold my stockings, I put those in a Ziploc bag rather than putting them back in their box to save space. And then so here I'm kind of using that same method I did with my lights with this ornament garland, and I'm wrapping it around that piece of cardboard, just an extra piece that I had laying around. And then I'll do this with other decor items that I have if I have any other things that need to be wrapped up. That way they're not getting all tangled. They're not getting tangled on each other if they're in the same bin. So I've got this decorative tree, and I'm wrapping my wooden garland around that. I've got 3 of those trees, and so I'm just taking those, wrapping my garland around them, and that way I'm not adding extra things into my bin. It's all things that need to be packed away in there anyway, and this really is a great space saver and time saver as well. So again, just a few things here and there that I wrap up in paper. My bins don't go like anywhere crazy or get moved around a whole bunch. They pretty much stay in the spot I put them. I do have a memorabilia bin, so like my son makes little ornaments and things like that every year. Sadly not this year, but so I keep those all in a box and all together. I will set them out in an area. I usually don't put them on the tree. I try and make them last as long as possible. And then those are some crocheted items that actually were made for my husband when he was a child. Now here's a wreath hack that I really love. So the hanging element I'm putting around a hanger, and then I'm taking this garment bag from the Dollar Tree and I'm slipping it in there. And what is so great about this is you can hang this in a storage closet if you like, all sorts of things. And this is a great space saver. There's still a lot of room down there at the bottom. If you have a smaller wreath, it could definitely fit down there. I'm actually going to end up putting some extra greenery and picks that I had left over down at the bottom of that bag, which is perfect. So if you have larger wreath, this is the size of a small hula hoop. So I'm still going to use the method of hanging it on a hanger, and then I'm actually going to take a trash bag and I'm going to place that over the wreath. So you could do this with smaller wreaths as well and just use like grocery bags to put over it, and then you can tie it down at the bottom to really secure it. Same thing with the trash bag, and all you do is you place the trash bag on upside down and then just poke the hanger through in the middle at the bottom of the trash bag. So the top of the trash bag is at the bottom of the wreath, if that makes sense. You can kind of see here, and then that way you can tie it at the bottom, and this works out so perfectly, and it's just a nice clean way to store everything so that it's not getting bumped and really misshapen and all that sort of thing. Here's a way I package some extra gifts and things that I had left over from the holiday season. And this is a great example of me using some extra things. So I'm using this scarf to wrap around that mug, and then I've got some softer items that I'm placing in between some harder items to make it so I don't have to wrap things. I got some jewelry on discount after Christmas this year, which I love doing that, and it's just kind of fun, silly jewelry. And then some extra socks and things like that that I can gift to next year. And so I keep all of those things. I place them in a box if I have enough, or a Tupperware, to keep them all together. And like I said, I love, buying holiday socks and different things after the season. It's a great idea. Next, I've got these Jot label. They're for binders, but these work great for Tupperware. So they come with these little cards to slip in that little plastic pouch, and then they're adhesive on the back. And so I just write out what's in my bins. I don't get super, super detailed unless I know there's something in there that I really want to know about. And then I just place them on my bins. And what's nice about this is those will stay on my bins. And if I change things up, I can just slip that little piece of paper out and just add a new one in next year if I need to. So here I am placing those on there. I like these because they are plastic on the outside, so if there's like moisture or anything like that, it's not going to really ruin the paper, or it's really going to stick on there, which I like, versus putting like a sticky note on there and like a whole bunch of tape that might possibly get stuck on my bin. This is how I do my wrapping paper. So I have a large Tupperware. I take my wrapping paper and I take an extra wrapping paper roll that's been used. I cut it down the middle. I make sure my wrapping paper is nice and tight around the roll, and I slip this on here. You could do this with a toilet paper roll, a paper towel roll. I usually have a lot of extra wrapping paper rolls that I've gone through at the end of the season. So this roll was a lot wider. So if that's the case, I'll take some washi tape and put that on, and then I'll fold it over at the end so it's got like a nice little flap there so that I have an area to pull off. And I do that, and what's nice about the washi tape is like it doesn't tear it, it comes off really easily. So this is a great alternative versus using like Scotch tape or something like that that can damage your paper or damage your wrapping paper roll. So here I'm just going to do a couple more. If it's a smaller size roll, I'll use a smaller piece of the wrapping paper roll. If it's a longer roll, I'll use a longer one just to make sure that it stays on there. But again, paper towel roll, toilet paper roll, you could use all of that. This paper was almost out, and so I just pulled it off of its roll to save some room, and added a piece of washi tape on there and stuck that in here. And then I'll also put my tissue paper that I have on top of my wrapping paper, and this keeps it nice and flat so that it doesn't, I feel like when it's in my Tupperware bins, the other ones, it tends to fall over and then get wrinkled. So I like to keep it with my wrapping paper. This is where I keep my boxes and my bags for wrapping, and this system has worked great for me and I love it. I tend to wrap things in boxes more, so I don't keep a whole lot of bags, but I do like to have some on hand. So I do keep a handful of them, and then these are little containers to wrap things in that I like to keep. And then any gift card holders, I like to store in these little boxes that I have to save space. So you can see I've got a couple in this little box, and I've got a few more in some of those other boxes that are in the front of this Tupperware as well. And that works out really well, so you're utilizing all of your empty space, which is great. I got a couple extra bags on clearance this year, so I'm just going to put those on top. These were 50% off, so all those candy cane bags were 50 cents, which is so amazing, so great, and all set up for next year now, which I love. And then I wanted a reminder, so I got these fairy lights, and I'll put these out on mantles and stuff. If you're packing these away or anything with batteries, make sure you're taking them out because they can corrode, especially if you're storing things in a cold basement or garage or anywhere that gets like hot and cold. It's more likely to corrode, so you're going to want to take that stuff out. It'll make your products last so much longer. So definitely do that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and happy packing.